trying to. The screen was like this big. All right, I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah, you'll just have to edit this part out
Oh, I know that.
because
No, I'm going to
it's
leave it
recording.
in. This will be the best part.
Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
What is going on, guys? This is Justin with Go Crazy Card Collecting. I am excited about this episode of my channel, and we're going to have a good time. We're talking about team collecting today, and I brought on my buddy Jon. At my house, he's known as YouTube Jon because we know other Johns, so I have to say YouTube Jon. But I'm excited to talk Cardinals baseball with him and Cardinals card collecting with him because, his passion is like no other. But he has ignited my childhood passions of being a card collector for the Cardinals and my love for Ozzie Smith growing up. He has just rekindled that, and I'm so thankful for you, brother, in that. And it's been awesome. It's been so fun, and it's really changed my collecting. So we're going to talk about that today. It's kind of the joy of team collecting and what that means to both of us and how that shapes what we do. So first, I'm going to ask you a question, Jon.
Right.
Why Cardinals? Like, what's your background with the Cardinals franchise and the team?
Yeah, so my parents are from the metro St. Louis area, a town called Edwardsville. That's on the wrong side of the river. That's where I live too. Anyway, but my dad was in the Navy for 20 years, and this was always like home base. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the summers we would always go back to St. Louis to visit family and things like that. And my dad was a big time Cardinals fan. And so that's just one of those things, right? My dad was a Cardinals fan, so I'm a Cardinals fan. You know what I mean? Like, my dad influenced me more than TBS or WGN. So
Well, yeah.
it's just something I've always been as far back as I can remember.
Yeah. Well, and I had the similar influence. Like, I grew up about 45 minutes south of the stadium, and we went to one time I tried to predict it. We went to over 10 Cardinals games a year for most of my childhood, like just a ton of Cardinals games. We'd go up when I got old enough to drive. We'd go up on Sundays and get bleacher seats on Sunday afternoons. And it was just, you get them for like $10. Like, you get in line about an hour before the game and get them for like $10. And so I've been to some pretty awesome games, and it just, Ozzie Smith was the man growing up. So he got me hooked, and everybody wanted to be him. I wanted to be him. I thought he was just the greatest thing ever. But very similar. But I did watch some TBS, man. TBS was it was hard not to like the Braves a little bit in the 90s. Like, they were a good team, and they were everywhere. So at one point I would have said they were probably my second team. But WGN, I never watched that.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch baseball, don't get me wrong, when I was a kid, and but it was the loyalty was always with the Cardinals, and it's just something that's continued on since then. And 1992, I remember being I think a seminal year as far as my fandom and card collecting. I didn't get it out, unfortunately, but I talked about it before. It was the 100th anniversary of the Cardinals that year, and there was this team set that they sold at McDonald's, and there was all these old time players: Grover Cleveland Alexander, Rogers Hornsby, Chick Hafey, all the way up to what at that point in time with Ozzie, Lee Smith, Todd Worrell, and so there was always just something about the history of the team, and so it took hold for sure. I remember because I was 7 that year, and went to
Wait,
a ball game.
You were 7 in 92?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember going to a game, walking around the ballpark, met Ozzie Smith, and it's been nonstop, like ever since then. And with any sport, really, it's like I've got my team. There's my team, and then everybody else. And I don't know another way to think. But yeah, that's just how I am.
Well, and you kind of brought me back to that. So I don't know. We've been talking pretty heavily for several months now, but but I stumbled onto your channel, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know where the origins of our friendship happened, um, but
It was
I was, what's that?
it was a Billy Ball game.
Okay, awesome.
So I was a YouTube watcher, and I wanted to do a channel. It was just the timing of it, and then some guy did Jack Buck's call for his channel name. But obviously, with you being a St. Louis fan, I definitely keyed in on your channel, and then Billy Ballgame was doing his channel, and y'all had talked about your connection there. And I had a couple cards I wanted to send to you, and he's how I got your address to send them. And then it was kind of like ever since then, kind of thing. It's grown.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, we don't even just talk cards, man. I mean, we do pretty much only talk Cardinals, but um but I mean, we talk the game. We'll text throughout the games. There's a game going on right now that Matt in Texas, Straight
Yeah.
Race Cards, is, yeah, they've got us the first two.
I
We
know,
were
Matt. I know, Matt.
we were winning when we started this thing, so hopefully we'll pull it out. Um but no, I grew up big time Cardinals fan, and I went to, like, I was at Ozzie Smith's last game, and
Yeah.
what's crazy, like, here's how removed I was until I started really connecting with you and getting back in. Like, I didn't even remember I went to that game. Like,
Oh,
you,
really?
yeah, I didn't even remember. And I was like, so I was looking through some of the stuff that I had of Ozzy's because of your Ozzy collection. And I was like, I've got lots of Ozzy stuff. Like, I loved Ozzy Smith. And so I was going back through and looking, and I saw I have a stack of those flyers that they were handing out at the last
Yeah.
game. And I mean, a big stack of them. So I knew, I was like, okay, but was that his last home game? Like, and it was. And so I was like, well, I knew I was at that game, but I never, as an adult, I never connected that was his last home game as a Cardinal. It's pretty
Wow.
wild, isn't it? Yeah, I know, it is wild. And also the crazy thing is, like, I guess that shows you that I didn't really understand the weight of it as a kid. Um, and then I also have a scorecard from that game where I filled everything in. So, like,
That's awesome.
yeah. And so, I mean, um, it was really cool. I do remember, I knew something was special about that game, because why would I go around picking up all those flyers? But I had like 17 of them or so. Most of them have, beer stains all over them. Um, but anyway, it was years. I moved to Arkansas, and there's no pro team here. So it's not like I was watching pro baseball with a bunch of people. There are Cardinals fans here. There are Rangers fans. We're about the same distance from both.
Yeah.
And so, but there are a lot of Cardinals fans because back in the day, radio, this was like Cardinal radio was here, and and there were no Rangers until like the 70s. So,
Yeah.
there are a lot of Cardinals fans here, and I've really, it's just kind of hit me real hard and kind of come back pretty hard, and it's been really fun, man. So I appreciate that. Um, well, when I first got back in, it was my mom that got me back into collecting, and gave me a binder full of big time Hall of Famers and big time cards, and so I'm like, I need to do it this way. And I was watching Mike Moynihan a lot, so I was like, he wants every Hall of Famer, of every Topps Hall of Famer card, and I'm like, I should do that, like thinking, that's going to be easy. I didn't really think that, but I didn't understand the weight of what that meant.
Yeah.
But I started doing that, and I started getting cards of players that I didn't care a whole lot about, and it didn't mean a whole lot to me. And so bringing me back to my team, and really helping me focus back on my team, it's brought whole new meaning to my collection. So, um, I do have a question for you. So, what do you think being a team collector can, like, really helps you focus on, or how does it help you kind of keep focus in your collection? Besides just saying I'm getting Cardinals cards.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes like what you're talking about with if you're an at-large collector, and so For a lot of people, I think that means the Hall of Fame, and that makes sense because it's something that's defined. There's greatness by definition with everything that you're collecting, but the by narrowing it down to a team, I cannot. I have to have a connection, you know, and the fact that I am a fan of a team, it's you look at uh, Kirby Puckett, for example,
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal player. But the thing is, he was on a team that beat the Cardinals in the World Series. I don't want his cards, and I cannot make the disconnect. And I think most people can, but I cannot, right?
Right.
And it's just it's that connection. And then if you get into like learning more about the history of players and the team and teams, like years, you start learning more cool things. There's things that I think are often forgotten that to you they're not, and it makes it more exciting. I think it makes it easier to learn about those kind of teams and players because you're narrowing it down to what I call the Cardinals chapter within the overall story of Major League Baseball.
Well, yeah, and there's so many routes you can go with that too. Like,
Oh yeah,
something that I love that you do is, and first of all, the Cardinals. I mean, what a great team to do it with. We've got a
yes,
very rich history. We have some top tier Hall of Famers all throughout. And but something that I love that you do, and you have just done a video on rehoming this collection into a new binder,
yeah.
is your Hall of Fame binder. And yeah, it's like I love it. I love it. And I know that you have a very specific way that you're doing that, and we've talked about it, and I know it. But
Mhm.
like, what's your goal with that? Like, what are your guidelines when you're building that collection?
Yeah, so to give your viewers a little bit more background, it's Ken Boyer, amazing player, in my opinion. He, in some opinions, gets snubbed for the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and you know, it kind of irritated me one year, and so I started a card collection, and it was easy because the way I defined it was the first Topps card. And it's like you said, the Cardinals' history just goes way back. But I had to figure a starting point, and it was first Topps card, and so I collected uh, a whole bunch of those. And so for anybody that's played, since 1951, their first Topps card is what's in my collection, and then anything pre-war, it's just a playing days card. To have all of them represented within the binder, but I do it by class. So there's the inaugural class 2014 to this year's.
Well, and so you're doing, because some of them aren't going to have Topps cards, right? So
Yep.
so like, are you making sure everything's a playing days card?
If I can help it, yes.
Okay.
So there's like a struggle. I'll show you one. So he's represented by a Braves card, Billy Southworth. Now he played for the Cardinals, so he actually debuted with the Cardinals back in the 20s. He's more known for when he managed the Cardinals in the 40s, but his cards, well, he just doesn't have a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like that. And then same thing with like Chick Hafey. This is a Reds card, but his Cardinals cards that I have found don't fit into a pocket on a page. So that's another little small rule, so to speak. Is I wanted it to fit in a binder.
So you had to kind of make an exception with, like,
Yeah,
how go
and I
ahead.
could have found a post playing days card, Cardinals card, but I didn't want to because this is really cool. It tells like it's almost like a small history thing of baseball cards, yeah, but it's also a history of the team, and I like the format that it's in. So that's what I do.
Well, and what's so cool is you're doing it that way, and I've got different ways that I'm trying to do things too. And I mean,
Yeah,
we're literally building the history of a franchise with baseball cards.
Yep.
And it's so cool to go back and see different players that you're like, they were on the team for a minute. I can't believe they even had a
Yeah.
card on the team. Like, and
Yeah.
they do. Like and that I'm doing this, and this is kind of, I'm so excited because I'm going real hard with it now. Is this book that I got when I was a kid, and a lot of people got these surf books. I actually have another one that's not surf. It's just a Topps book. It's the same book, but it's just Topps, and it has, starting in 52, it doesn't have the 51 game cards in it, but starting in 52, it just goes through, and every, base card or whatever that has only Cardinals on them, it has them listed all the way through 87. And so I'm building that set. And what's been so cool is people have really gifted me and been so generous and given me a lot of stuff for the set. But when this is complete, I mean, the reason that they made these books to begin with, and I don't know what I'm going to do here, but there's like a little write-up for each year about like what the Cardinals did that year, and kind of maybe a big trade or some things that may have happened. And I may figure out some way to place that in the binder before each year or something, like, I don't know. But the whole reason for this book was because it told the story of the franchise. And, as a card collector, what better way to do that than to actually get the cards and put them in a binder? So I've been doing that. And I, because of the gifts that I've received, like, what a fantastic, my binder has exploded. And I'm really, like, I'm just about a handful of cards away from the 70s, and then I've already got some of the 60s years completed. And so, and then the late 50s, I've got pretty good numbers on them now. The early 50s, you, my friend, gifted me these, but those are the only two 52s that I currently have.
So they were in this collection, but it's like you said, the 51 Topps. This question, like, is that the first year? Whatever, but for all intents and purposes, that's the first year Topps cards for me. And so I wanted to replace those with this.
And those are so awesome. Yeah.
And so when I did that, it's where do those cards fit within my collection? And they didn't. And you announced that you were doing the surf set, and it just made sense,
Well, I appreciate that, man. And it, certain things have, what's funny is that they're so nice, and you and I collect differently in a lot of ways too. I mean, we have a lot of similarities in things that we do, but we collect differently in a lot of the ways too. And when I first got these, I really wrestled with, man, these would grade pretty decent. And I'm like, but that's not what he gave them to me for. So, but no, I know you don't care what I do with the cards, but I'm excited to put them, now that I'm really going intense on this binder. I'm excited to put them in the binder, and I don't want them to be graded. I want them to be in the binder where they belong. So it's been a super, super awesome thing. There's another thing that I like about team collecting. There are certain sets, and I know you're very specific in the way you collect, and I love it. I'll be honest with you. I look through my collection and I don't know how to send you gifts. Like, I want to send you something.
It's easier if you don't, you know what I mean?
Oh, I get it. But I don't, because I'm like, because, and I love it when people send you gifts, and what you've done now is you created a way to home those gifts.
Yeah.
And so that's a collection in itself.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you don't buy cards that don't fit in your collection. So
we all have a budget, right? And
right.
It's how you operate within your budget, and depending on what it is, you have to be more strategic. And that's, don't get me wrong, I have a long list of cards I want.
Well, yeah, but they're very specific. And like, what's funny is I have a hard time if I have a card in my possession that I think is a big card or a nice card or something like that, and it doesn't fit part of my collection. I still struggle with, but this is a cool card. You're like, well, it doesn't fit my collection, it can go somewhere else. Like, you don't care at all what card it is or anything. If it's not something that you're working on or that you feel like should be in your collection, you move it. And it's
Yeah, I don't sell the cards, but usually I find somewhere for them to go, and
right, right,
sometimes it backfires, like I did that with the 1975 Bob Gibson. It did not fit. And then later on I decided I wanted one, and so I just had to go get another one.
right. Well, I love that about you, and I'm trying to learn that because first of all, you're in a room, I'm in a closet, so the 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 amount of space that I have is limited beyond limited, and my wife doesn't even like that I take up this many shelves in the closet. So, uh, but she's more than willing. Like if we can ever like our office is where she is teaching the kids for homeschooling and that sort of stuff, and there's a corner in there that she's like, you can put whatever you want on the wall. And so
Yeah.
she's trying to find ways for me to do it, but I don't have a ton of space, and I have like the largest box of 87 tops down here that like what I don't even I have another box that's a full set of them. So what am I don't even want the full set, to be honest with you. But so like I've got to find ways to decollect my collection so I can get more focused on what I'm doing. But that's is something that like when you find a set that you really love, like um and I'm just gonna say a lot of people who have come into this hobby and found YouTube have found, and I mentioned him earlier, but Mike's channel is Mike Moynihan's channel, and baseball collector, and I listen to his podcast, Golden Age of Cardboard, and he talks a lot about. He had one about Dick Perez, and I love, Dick Perez did the Diamond King cards in the '80s and the '90s,
Yeah.
and so I love his stuff. And I started looking at it, and he had Hall of Fame postcards and all that. And he has every one of them, and
Yeah.
then he's even made more than they have and gotten them signed as well. But
I know.
but I can't do that. Like that's not something I can do. But then I was like, well, my team's the Cardinals, and the Cardinals had quite a few of them, and so um, I kind of honed myself down to that, and then so I have a little small set that at some point I will display.
I've seen those.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they're awesome. There's the Lou and the Gibson, the Stan. I love it. Like I love these so much, and because I team collect, I don't have to buy 500 of them. I can get these
Yeah.
6 and be perfectly happy and create like a really awesome display. Um, there's the Enos. I love that one. It's different color, and um, but that's what it's really helped me with. Like it's really
Yeah.
because I have a tendency to like everything, and like a lot of us do. You're much more laser focused, but I think a lot of us have the problem with we just like it all. But if I can like it all as a Cardinal fan, that at least narrows it some. Does that make sense?
No, and it does, but to your point about the long history, what makes this a lot of fun is it's like that Chick Hafey card I showed, but you can get into pre-war as a Cardinals fan. Team collecting the Cardinals. You have some of the just massively all-time greats like Stan Musial, and it goes all the way to today. So you can do it like how I'm doing it. You can do it how like you're doing it with the team sets. You can type collect because there's going to be players in all these different sets. Your flagship sets, your obscure sets, food issues, gum, candy, caramel, and all that good stuff. So we are fortunate that we can cover so much ground with his team. What I would say is, like me being a St. Louis Blues fan, how I collect the Cardinals does not apply to collecting that team. The history is totally different. There's not a whole lot of winning. There's not a whole lot of true Blues, only Blues. You know what I mean? There's always players that played for a time with the Blues. there's not a whole lot. There's only one Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? The history of hockey cards is totally different than the history of baseball cards. But the reason why I say that is take franchises like the Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, Tampa Bay Rays that don't have 100 years. I can see where that's a little bit different, you know. So take that for what it's worth, right? You know, it's the Rangers, they have to share Nolan Ryan with the Angels and Astros. You know what I mean? Ivan
Right.
Rodriguez, they have to share with like the Marlins, and it's so I can see where it'd be a little bit different for fans of those teams, and that's why they brand. Maybe they go to like larger baseball history. But we are very fortunate, like I said, and you can collect this so many ways and have a blast with it.
Well, and to be honest with you, it's not, they're not super expensive in terms,
Yes.
like comparatively. They can be for sure. But comparatively, like I saw, on a Golden Age episode, they talked about team collecting, and Mike O. You probably haven't watched Mike O's stuff. He had been on
I know who he
YouTube.
is.
Yeah, he'd been on YouTube for a long, long time. And but he did the Phillies. Now he's done Phillies from 51, and he still like every year it's complete, but it's never complete because he has to, every year they come out with new sets, and he has to get series 1, series 2, and then update every single year to keep it going. And he's done the Phillies all the way through that. And I just think that there are so many like joys and so many different ways that you can bring that, like I have the pre-war stuff too. The point I was making, I lost my point. Do you remember when I bought this? You have this card too, don't you?
But I remember saying exactly what I'm just saying now. It's like I got that card too.
Right. Well, and you showed this one a second ago, and this one was a big one for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is he said something like, as a Phillies fan, he was like, yeah, there's some bigger cards and stuff, and we have the same thing. But at least we're not Yankees fans trying to do this. Like they would be almost. I mean, it would be impossible to do that. Like I can do this set as a Cardinals fan. I could never do it as a Yankees fan.
And that's again where we are very fortunate.
Right.
It's these mutual cards now. They're expensive to us.
Mm-hmm.
Compare that to obviously Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, but compare that to Ernie Banks and Hank Aaron. This thing, it doesn't come close to them.
No.
Unless you're getting something high grade. And so that's an avenue where we are very fortunate, we can appreciate Red Shandies for as absolutely amazing as he is, or that he is, right? Outside of this market, he's not an inner circle Hall of Famer, so boom, it's cheaper for us. I think we've talked about this before. Bob Gibson. Now, for us, again, this is an expensive card, and I know you got yours. Boom.
Yeah.
It's compare that to Nolan Ryan. Compare that to Tom Seaver. It's nowhere near as expensive compared to some of his peers, right? And so again, that's where, as Cardinals fans, we get to play the rookie card game at a discount compared to some other teams' fans or the at-large baseball fans because of the players the cards that do exist, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't even make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, it's an expensive card. It is, but it doesn't even make sense how expensive it's not. Like, it should be way more than what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's not.
I know. Yeah, I guess we can cry that Musial doesn't get the respect that he deserves, but then we wouldn't be able to afford his stuff if he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're so true. But that was the point I was trying to make, that if for team collecting, which is such a joy and so fun, that if you're not doing the Yankees, it's pretty doable for most teams, I would think.
Yeah, and then you think about some other teams too. Again, we are just so fortunate is there's legendary players that we're picking up if you look at the history of cardboard, we're picking up at regular intervals. So the 50s, we got the Gibson, of course, Flood, but then you go to like the 60s, we got Mike Shannon. 70s, you got Ted Simmons. 80s, Willie McGee, Ozzie Smith, and then that continues on all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas not all old teams have that consistent of a lineage. So there's not going to be, depending on how you want to collect this, is we don't have the larger gaps, so to speak. And it just goes, again, just how fortunate we are as Cardinals fans, right? But at the same time, if you do collect a team with a long history, I'm thinking of like the Phillies. You can appreciate a Larry Boa outside of the Philadelphia market. How many people remember Larry Boa?
Right.
But he was an awesome player, and so that's another benefit of team collecting is just remembering those players.
Yeah, for sure. And you're so true on that. I didn't even think about that. Like I have, like this was, it's a $25 card in the slab, and but he's a Cardinal legend. I mean, he is, and yeah, wonderful. He's a Cardinal legend in the fact that he's, he left for a little while to go to the Phillies, then he came back and never left again. And
that wasn't by choice either, though, right?
Right. He but that's what, to your point, you were talking about Shannon and stuff like those. They're not Hall of Famers, but they were Cardinals their whole life. Like,
yeah.
And that is something that we have as a franchise. Like when people came, they never left him. But when we were talking before this, we were talking about why the Cardinals recognize Ozzie so much, and it's because he's still everywhere. Like the Cardinals insider stuff that's on YouTube and stuff, like he hosts all that. Like he's still such a huge part. He's at the games all the time, and just doing stuff in St. Louis constantly. And so a lot of those Cardinals who, built a lot of their career here and finished their career here or whatever, spent significant time here, stay. And they really love being a part of the St. Louis tradition. And it's a really cool, we are so fortunate, and not everybody has that. And I'm glad that we've got friends who are fans of other teams, but I'll tell you what, let's just show some cards. You got some cards you want to show?
Yeah, actually, the Tim McCarver card, I think, is awesome. So if you don't mind, I'm going to pull some cards out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell a story in a way. And the thing is, like, think about this, right? You talk about players.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about, just pick a player. You might hear like one or two things that's why they're great. It's the home runs, it's the hits, it's the iconic moment or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much history that gets lost. And I think if you collect a team or you're so invested in a team, you start learning just some weird, awesome stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got these 5 cards, and so I'll tell you how they all connect. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you have Tim McCarver, right? And he was traded, like you said, along with Kurt Flood.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what that trade triggered.
Right.
Did you know it triggered more things? Okay.
Well, you're going to tell me, I'm sure.
Yeah. So because of the Tim McCarver trade, they went after this guy.
Okay.
Joe Torre.
Right.
Now, this guy was meant to be the future, just not yet. However, Mike Shannon got ill, was forced to retire. So then they moved Joe Torre to third base, which ultimately led to his MVP season, because he wasn't behind the plate and his knees wearing down, which forced the call up of him.
That's awesome.
And it's just kind of a weird intertangling of a handful of players and whatnot, and just the ramifications of all that. Curt Flood and the whole free agency thing, Ted Simmons being called up and going on to have what we now know to be a Hall of Fame career, likely the catalyst for Joe Torre's MVP season. It's quite insane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Instead of just what, Curt Flood is free agency. That's it. Tim McCarver's an announcer. You know what I mean? It's like there's more to all these guys, and you get to learn more about it that way. And I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I don't think if I was an at-large collector, I would learn this useless trivia. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't think I would either. Some of those guys can, and some of those guys, they can stick to some of that stuff, and I just don't know if I could do that.
I don't think I'd be able to.
Well, and
where's the investment? And
right.
it'd be hard for me to have an investment of the history of another team that I'm not a fan of.
Right. I have the same thing. I've had some personal collections too when it comes to that. And if any of you have, you're watching this on my channel, but if any of you have seen any of my past videos, this guy right here, Dick Hughes, I got to meet and kind of have a relationship with him for the last few years. We had lunch together. I wrote him many times, and he would message me back and talk about how much he appreciated. Like, I found things that he had never seen before, and the joy in his, and the joy in his responses were just amazing. And so he only had a 3-year stint, really short, but I've got all his cards autographed. But that's a guy, like, team collecting, because I team collected, I know what you're looking for. Yeah. Because I team collected, he, his 67 season, yeah, man. And I had that when I asked you if you wanted one, that was not signed.
I know. Yeah, I really appreciate this.
Yeah, man. I specifically sent that to him. He has since passed, but I specifically sent that to him to sign for you. And I said in the note, and then in the message that I sent him, it was for a buddy of mine. And but he sent me one of those too. I've got one with the World Series inscription too. So, yeah. But this guy is, in 67, he is runner-up Rookie of the Year to Tom Seaver for the National League Rookie of the Year, but he wins the Sporting News Rookie of the Year.
Yep, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, so one of them's voted, the Sporting News was voted by the players, the National League was voted by the coaches. So by the coaches, he didn't win. By the players, they had him above Seaver. And so, like, he goes on, and I have a picture of me with him, and I posted it on a Cardinals thing, and I got 800 and something responses. People were like, I remember him, and all this stuff. And just what a gem to learn about this guy who had, not even a full 2 years in the major leagues, but was, for 1 year, was like one of, if not the best pitcher in baseball. Went to a World Series, had a World Series ring, played with a buttload of Hall of Famers. Shane Deans was his coach. Played with Gibson, with Lou Brock, with Cepeda. Roger Maris was on the team. Stan Musial was his GM. The only year that Stan Musial was GM was that year. So I don't know. That's team collecting has done, and it was a joy. I would have loved to have met anybody like that, but the fact that I got to meet a guy like that from my home team, and that brought so much. That 67 team is now my favorite team, because I've dove into that team so much, and it's been an awesome deal for me. And like I said before, man, I appreciate you. I didn't want to show this because I thought this was such a cool card. I'm throwing stuff around.
Oh yeah, the Rawlings. Yeah.
I bought this on a whim. This is another thing that team collecting does. I know that I'm going to love it because it's a Cardinal. First of all, it's Musial. Second of all, it's a Cardinal, and I knew I would love it no matter what. And so I bought it on a whim. And the thing with it is,
The Ken
nice.
Boyer one, yeah.
I love it. Well, this one is, and I know you don't do the graded deal, but this one's the only one graded by SGC, like the only one they ever graded. And so PSA has 11 of them graded. Now you can get some that are in pretty rough, like this is a 1.5 and it's actually pretty gorgeous. It's got a lot of staining on the back that you can kind of see.
Yeah. No, I
And
mean
so
I've seen them
but
around, but it's just again where does it fit, you know? And I'm afraid that if I go beyond Tops and Bowman with Stan,
it'll open up a whole new.
yeah.
Well, I saw it. I loved it. I thought it'd be really cool to display, and you can't go wrong with Stan. So,
Yeah, and that's just the thing. Like you can get into some really cool card types, sets, and everything. And the Cardinals will be comparatively cheaper than some of the monsters that are in those sets, and so you get a good like cardboard representation. But that's for us, right? You know,
right.
for the team that we collect. But going back to your Dick Hughes, is how many people remember him? And I'll be honest, it's your channel is the reason why I know more about him.
Mm-hmm.
That 67 team that you're talking about, I heard this term recently in the lexicon of baseball. Is that a team that is remembered?
No.
You know, outside of St. Louis, right? We
right.
know of the more iconic teams, the Murderers Row, Gas House Gang, which yes, I know is Cardinals. We Are Family Pirates. We know of the dynasties, the Big Red Machine, you know, things like that. And I think that's where if you're invested in like your team, it's more teams are remembered and the little nuances behind them, right? So you got the 64 team, your 67 team, you know, and then think of like recent times, Matt, in 2011. But so you get to learn more about like those teams and what, you know, that when lightning struck and they won it all, right? The little nuances behind that. And I have a card. So this card right here is Scott Rowland's first Topps card. All right. What's really cool about this is there's a Cardinal on there who, honestly, I don't know anything about him. You have Scott Rowland, who became a Cardinal, and Scott Spezio, who we know became a Cardinal.
Mm-hmm.
But one of those odd things, why did Scott Rowland leave St. Louis? Because Tony La Russa benched him for him in the NLCS. You know, it's just one of those weird stories, right? And
right.
how many people know anything about the 2006 Cardinals beyond they won a World Series? But we dive into that history and know, just have fun learning more about them. You know what I mean?
So right.
That's where I have a blast with it.
Me too, man. And I would say to anybody, like, yeah, if you're a major fan of a team, really dive into your team. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it will ignite your fandom for one. I find, you know, Matt felt like you said Matt a second ago, and he felt the need to put us both in a text with him. Now
Yeah.
he's gotten the last laugh the last 2 nights, but
oh yeah,
he felt the need to put us both in a text because he knew we'd have a good time, and we have a good time just talking about the Cardinals and talking about the game, and it brings us together. And I'm so excited. Hey, I'm excited about September, about coming to St. Louis to go to Yachty's and Pujols' induction ceremony. That's pretty awesome. Pretty pumped about that. Hey, I've got somewhere. What did I do with those?
Class of 2026.
Yeah. I think I have. I don't have all 3 of them, but I do have these 2.
Those are awesome.
And so these, to me, I will display these 2 together with nothing else around them, because I just for some reason think that green and that white and these slabs just looks cool. I don't know, just like next to each other, they kind of, I don't know. I think it's, and they're both wearing the home whites and the, I don't know. Pretty cool. Anyway, man, I appreciate you, brother. I guess we'll kind of wrap this thing up. That you have brought, like I said, you have really kind of honed in my collection and brought this whole joy thing back to me, and being a Cardinals fan, and I appreciate that. I thank you I thank you for your friendship, and can't wait to meet you in September, man.
Yeah, likewise. It's going to be awesome when we can finally meet face to face. And I'll just add one thing at the end. If you're like, well, my team's not that old, or doesn't have all the World Series, doesn't have all the Hall of Famers, but I would push back on that with, there's a Roberto Clemente Award, Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, iconic moments. Just if you dive really deep into your team's history, you can find some really cool stuff, some really cool stories, really cool players that can just ignite a card collection like you wouldn't believe.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And if you're wanting to go for the similar thing that I am, that surf set, if you have a team that started not as long, if they don't have as rich a history, it'd be easier to do, right? So
get the team sets and it'll be like, oh, I remember this player. I remember when. There's memories attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much fun.
Well, and we were doing that the other day. I was going through the Fleer cards, and Ray Langford's 91 Fleer came up, and I was like, I loved Ray Langford. Like, he was a stud in center field.
Oh yeah,
right. Like, he was a stud, and I loved him. And so, yes, it does, and it takes me back to a child. So appreciate you, man. Have a good one. Everybody else, take care.